Hi, Youngjin. I think there are a couple of things of your design. So if you insist that you should use point of emphasis, I think the gradation is a really subtle. It's really hard to find out where the point of emphasis is. I assume this is one point of emphasis, and probably this part also a point of emphasis, and this one, but the gradation is really subtle, like I said, because the point of emphasis we can also think of it as a single visual pathway graded pathway to pathway. So, for example, the outer perimeter for this point of emphasis should be the darkest or the lightest, then gradate to the darker or lighter, even darker, even lighter, right? So, but right now, I don't know whether you can tell this pathway, and this pathway, they're barely you barely can figure out there's any different there's any differences in value. So I think this is a problem because this is instead of reading it as a point of emphasis is more like a solid achromatic and monochromatic square. um, and for your design, I think for your skill, I think need to you need to work on it because for the middle value, for example, this two achromatic and monochromatic scale step that doesn't have the vanishing boundary. This one either. I think this sign could go a little bit darker. I think generally speaking, for the darker value, it did a good job. Or even the lightest, I think the step one. I think this is step one or step two. I think this is also successful. But just for the middle value, for example, I'm not okay, so I assume this two they should be the same value, probably like a 4 or 3. They there's no vanishing boundaries between them as well. So because I think you need to make sure that you have vanishing boundaries between your achromatic and monochromatic scale first, and then make sure you have equal value contract for your monochromatic scale. So, but anyway, before you doing the vanishing boundaries or the equal value contrast, the most important thing is you have a correct achromatic scale. So think about that. Revisit your skill and work on the gradation, the point of emphasis gradation. Because right now, not only this two part, because only this three parts are reading as they are. It's not like a reading the figure, but they are reading as the ground for your design. And this the darker. Like I said, I assume they are the point of emphasis. Instead of point of emphasis, they're reading as the pathways, and that's also reading as figures on the ground. So you have unity problem in this case. Let me know if you still have any other questions about your design.